grab your fucking cameras, get out to the field, and take a picture of this good old groundhog. Welcome, everybody, to this special episode of Beware the Board, a horror podcast where we watch a horror movie every week. I'm Bob.
And I'm Ben.
And this week, we're watching a Groundhog Day movie, Benjamin.
Yay.
What? Okay. About 10 seconds ago, we were off mic, and you were so energetic and happy. And now you seem sad.
It's like the 37th time I've recorded this episode.
Shut up! Oh my god, you're doing
I'm
a
not
bit.
Into it.
You motherfucker. Oh my, I should have known it was a bit. I should have known.
I'm not excited to do this again.
I've never done this before. It's my first time.
I know you haven't done it. That's what you said last time. All right. Well,
Okay. I hope
happy
this is really
Groundhog Day, everyone.
I hope this is actually a bit and you're really not reliving this experience 37 times, because honestly at this point I'd be sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's what I said last time. Something similar.
Yeah.
So no board selection this week. We're just, you know the movie we're watching, right?
Mm-hmm. I picked it out.
Do we want to explain the concept of Groundhog Day on this one?
Yeah, I guess.
Just in case people don't understand the connection between this holiday and this movie you're choosing.
So Groundhog Day is a movie with Bill Murray that Bob has never seen. Yeah?
Yeah, I've never seen it. Pretty sure Bill Murray's in it.
Yeah, he's the main character. We looked it up last time.
Yeah.
But basically, he gets stuck doing a time loop, and he's stuck reliving Groundhog Day over and over and over.
Yeah, what a
and
shitty
over.
fucking holiday to relive.
I mean, it's actually a pretty nice holiday to relive.
Is it?
Yeah, because, like, in the grand scheme of things, everything's still open. Nothing's closed.
Yeah, I guess. I would say Halloween would be my
It's a decent
pick to
time of
relive.
year. He relives Groundhog Day in the town where the Groundhog festivities take place, though.
Oh.
I forget what town it is. I think it's in upstate New York or something. But it's a big deal there.
Makes sense.
So.
Okay.
But yeah, he basically every night he wakes up in his Groundhog Day again. So very fun movie, and basically the movie was so big that the idea of like time loops is basically, it's generally referred to as like a Groundhog Day thing.
Yeah.
You know, and not just a time loop, because that's just how most people know it. So for this holiday, because I proposed this one to Bob because I was like, that'll be a fun holiday, because I think Groundhog Day is fun.
It's fun enough. It was more fun when I was younger, but nowadays it's kind of whatever.
Yeah. I mean, it's always been whatever, but
yeah,
I think it's just a funny holiday.
it is. It's a funny holiday. Like, we as humans made a holiday where we look at a groundhog to determine how long winter's going to be here.
Kind of jokingly.
I mean, still preposterous, but also funny.
But personally, just besides the fact that I thought it'd be a funny holiday to do an episode for, I figured it would be a fun category of, hey, why don't we do movies that deal with time shenanigans?
Yeah, I think that's really cool.
So my goal when picking like this movie was to pick anything that deals with some type of time problem.
Yeah.
I say movie, this category, because I guess we'll probably do this next year.
Oh, yeah, probably. If you can come up with more movies to watch, I don't see why not.
Time movies.
Really?
But yeah, basically anything that does your classic time loops, anything that might have a character that's having trouble differentiating time, something where there's time travel, or basically anything with time shenanigans.
Yeah, is up for grabs when it comes to this holiday.
And sometimes those don't have to be real time shenanigans. It could just be the character has trouble keeping track of time, so we're just jumping around a lot. But a lot of fun. Tons of movies for this, so should be a pretty fun category going
I'm
forward
excited.
in the future.
Mostly because there's nothing inherently scary about this concept.
Nope. Actually, it's just inherently strange and probably confusing.
Yes. Nothing scary, though.
Yeah.
Like with our normal board categories, there's something inherently scary about those.
Well, I debate that. But for you, yes.
I'm scared of everything, so yes, inherently scary.
You're not afraid of time?
No.
Really?
Don't really.
You're not afraid of having to relive the same day over and over and over again?
Nah.
Because I don't know if I've talked to you about it. I think the guy who wrote Groundhog Day went on record saying like he was stuck in the same day for like 2 years or something.
What the fuck?
I watched a video a long time ago where someone analyzed one of the scenes in the movies. Because slight spoiler, he learns how to play the piano, Bill Murray's character. He didn't know at all. And apparently someone did like basically the amount of hours you would have to do to get to like the certain level of competence he had.
Sure.
Knowing that he basically only got an hour of lessons a day. That's assuming he did it every day, and it's only like 43 years.
Oh my god. That's so long to be stuck in the same time loop.
But imagine that. Like, you're stuck in the same day.
For 43 years.
Because nothing changes besides you.
Yeah.
Anything you do gets undone the next day.
Mm-hmm.
You can't get very far away from your starting point
Really? Oh, because you only have one day.
because you only have one day. So you
Wow.
can't go anywhere new, really. And even if your farthest range, you can only stay there for a short period of time. So you're basically
Yeah.
stuck in the same small area.
Damn.
Nothing new. Can't get like new movies or new books or anything like that.
That's wild.
I think it sounds pretty rough. It's cool. Probably the first bunch of times,
Yeah.
but eventually it's probably
Then after that, it sucks.
because you're the only one who remembers
yeah.
too. You know how lonely they would get?
Oh, yeah. Ugh.
Can't make new friends either.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, now I'm not scared of time loops, but this is definitely depressing.
Yeah.
I'm not scared. Now I'm sad.
I think anything with time's scary. It's like time is innately a horrifying force. You can't stop it.
That's fair.
It's kind of the one thing that destroys everything.
Yeah.
And so I guess my point is it's a cosmic force and it's very easy to play with time and get into cosmic horror. That's what
yeah,
I'm getting
that makes
into.
sense.
Yeah.
Oh. Oh. What are we watching?
You ready?
I'm scared. You mentioned cosmic horror, and that scares me.
Yeah. Well, time's a cosmic force, so anything with time is innately somewhat of cosmic horror. Not always, but
Because, spoiler, I guess. I pitched to Ben a while ago. I was like, I picked my category, and it was cosmic horror.
Mhm.
But then I changed it, so it's not that anymore. So I can say that and not get roasted. And I the reason I picked cosmic horror is because it looked fucking scary, and I was like, I
love
want to get
cosmic
scared.
horror. I really like Lovecraft.
Yeah.
Haven't read too much of his stuff, but
Oh, Jesse's read so much of it.
what I've read, I do like. But then also like there's some basic cosmic horror films like The Thing.
Yeah, there's John Carpenter did one. What is it? Into the Mouth of Madness?
Yeah, Into the Mouth of Madness. That's an adaptation of Lovecraft.
Yeah.
Color Out of Space. That's another Lovecraft one.
Yeah.
That one's very good.
Yeah, I've heard that
And
one's
it's
really
got
good.
our Lord and Savior in it, so that's always great.
That's so funny. You know what we need to watch? Mandy.
By the way, both of those are Nicolas Cage. Just Mandy and Color Out of Space.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Not everyone knows.
Well, I know. We talk about Nick Cage more often
You know,
than
but
I
not
should.
our audience.
Ben has a Nick Cage obsession, I think.
Not an obsession. I think he's a fun actor.
He's definitely fun. Definitely fun.
Here's the point I'll make. He has a very particular acting style.
He does.
Some actors do. Those actors who have like a very distinct style that are recognizable as like themselves can make some of the greatest actors ever as long as they're utilized well.
Yeah, I agree.
Like that's the thing with Nick Cage. He has a specific style.
Oh, yeah.
If you cast him for the wrong parts, it is not good.
So I agree completely.
But if you have him in a movie where his acting style matches the themes and the general vibe,
It's awesome.
It's great.
It's so cool.
because you can't get that style of performance out of anyone else.
Yeah.
But he's done horror movies recently, and
Yeah, I haven't seen any of them, but I'm
most
interested
of them
in
have
them.
been decent, and some of them have been very, very good.
Yeah, most of them look like cheesy modern horror, which is fine, and it seems fun.
I mean, the really two big ones, Mandy and Color Out of Space, so good.
And then there's the other one that he did that I can't remember the name of.
Willy's Wonderland?
Yes.
That one was
That's
not
like a wacky movie.
great, mostly because, getting into this, slight spoilers for anyone who's concerned about Willy's Wonderland and hasn't seen it at this point. Nick Cage's character doesn't talk
Yeah.
the whole movie.
Mm-hmm. I've heard that it's a bit weird.
I think that was a decision by Cage.
Really?
Yeah, because he was really into the script. That's why he did it.
That makes sense.
And it kind of works. Like, it works for the character he's portraying that it doesn't talk.
Yeah.
However, all the insane bullshit that comes out of his mouth is like a plus for having him as a character on screen.
Yeah, I
So
completely
taking
agree.
that away impacts the film.
Nick Cage has said some of the wildest things on camera.
Yeah.
It is so funny.
My favorite is basically his first film to really get off the ground was what is that movie called?
I have no idea, by the way.
It has to do with vampires. It's a psychological horror thriller film. But anyways, he thinks he's a vampire, and so there's one scene where he's wandering around the streets of Detroit, disheveled as all get out. He looks like he's been doing drugs.
Jesus Christ.
He's got like a table leg that he sharpened, and he's walking up to people. He's like, "Kill me!"
What the fuck?
Oh
My
yeah.
God. That's
But
so fucking funny.
Cosmic Horror. We'll have to watch some Nick Cage films at some point.
I
We
would
could
like
just
to.
watch Nick Cage as a category.
Yeah, we could watch
Just
Color
like
Out of Space,
Vincent Price as a
watch
category.
Mandy, and then throw something else in there.
But
Oh, God. Wicker Man? What did he do, Wicker Man?
he did the remake of Wicker Man.
Yeah, that's
which
what I
is
was thinking about.
not
So
a
bad.
good movie.
I've heard it's horrific.
It's funny.
Isn't that the one with the bees, right?
The bees.
The bees! I've seen that gif.
Yeah. So the original Wicker Man
I've heard it's very good.
is probably one of my favorite films ever.
Yeah.
It's so well done. The remake, it shows that it's like a naughties movie.
Yeah, I was about to say, didn't it come out in the early 2000s?
Yeah. At some point, we'll do folk horror.
No.
We're going to do it as a separate little thing at some point.
Yeah, I know we're going to. I'm not excited.
That way, we can do the Unholy Trinity.
Oh, speaking of folk horror, you're going to be mad at me. I saw another spoiler.
What you see?
I saw a spoiler for Hereditary.
What you see?
I don't know if I should even tell you, 'cause you might be really mad.
You can tell me.
I don't know what happens, but I think somebody's head gets cut off.
No.
Oh. Then I don't know what I saw then. Because that's what it looked like. And it was definitely from Hereditary. Oh no, that's much worse, I think. Okay, never mind.
All right. You ready
False alarm.
for me to tell you what this movie is? Also, second note, get off Twitter, Bob. You're not allowed there anymore. You keep spoiling shit for yourself.
On accident, man.
I don't care.
It's not on purpose. I'm just scrolling through Twitter, and since I've been... Okay, listen. It's because I have my Twitter, my personal Twitter, and our, social Twitter on the same, thing. So I'll swap between them a lot. And when I retweet all of our stuff on our Twitter to support the podcast. So it's like, oh, this person likes horror stuff. Let me recommend them horror things. And it keeps spoiling movies, and it's
All I'm
pissing me
saying,
off.
Stop using Twitter.
No, but I like
When a drunk
using
driver
on
hits
Twitter.
a person, they say stop driving your car.
Jesus
when you
Christ.
spoil a movie for yourself.
But it's like the only piece of social media that I actually use daily.
I know. You just gotta figure out some way.
I'm gonna have to mute the horror tag or something.
At least on your personal one.
Yeah. Well, not on our one,
I
because
know,
that's
but
important.
that
for
might be a good idea.
Yeah.
All right. Are you ready for me to tell you this movie? Because you've been avoiding it.
No, I haven't been avoiding anything. I don't know what you're talking
You
about.
very clearly have. I told you, are you ready for the name? And you went, no. Let's talk about something else. All right.
Okay, what are we watching?
Triangle.
Oh. Okay. That's a cool name for a movie. It's a shape.
Mm-hmm. Are you ready for the description, Bob?
Sure.
A boating trip takes a turn for the worst.
I'm gonna fucking punch you in the face.
I'm
I'm gonna hit you. We're not watching an ocean movie. I'm not doing it. And also, it's the Bermuda Triangle. I've already decided that's what this movie's about.
Don't you like boats?
Boats. Speaking of boats, have they really said anything else about that Dracula movie that's coming out set on the boat?
I think it finished filming.
That's cool. I'm excited to watch that.
Coming out. I'm super excited for that one.
Me too.
For anyone who doesn't know, if you've ever read Dracula or seen the original Dracula movie, like the black and white one, basically there is a section of it where Dracula's going from Transylvania, where I've been, by the way.
That is
for
cool.
anyone who's interested, I've been to his castle.
You travel so fucking much, and it kills me.
My aunt's from there.
I know.
So we went to Transylvania because we decided to go do something touristy instead of just being in the villages, so we went to his castle.
Yeah.
But he goes from Transylvania to England, I believe. And he's on the ship, and when they get back to port in England, everyone's dead.
Everyone's dead. The only thing on board is what? The coffin?
The coffins, but also basically Dracula's thrall.
Yeah.
And I haven't read Dracula.
I haven't read Dracula
actually,
either.
I might have read it, but it would have been in middle school, so I don't really
not
remember.
read it in a very.
But I think
ever.
they only cover what happens on the ship in some ship logs, very quickly.
Yeah, I don't think they go into much detail on what happens.
So it's mostly left up to interpretation, and same thing in the movies. We kind of barely see the after effects.
Yeah.
And so someone had this idea of, what if we just tell a movie that's just the story of the ship?
Yeah.
And that's what it's going to be.
That's
I'm
so scary.
Excited for it.
That's so freaky, man.
Because it's just a bunch of guys trapped on a ship.
With Dracula. Awesome.
Yeah.
Not the only piece of Dracula content that we're getting this year. Because also, I saw the trailer for, what is it, Renfield?
Yeah, Renfield. That one looks fun.
That one looks like it's going to be a fun, goofy horror movie.
And it also has our Lord and Savior, Nicolas Cage, in it. We brought it back, baby.
We did bring it back around. I don't know if you realize, that was me vamping because I don't want to talk about the ocean.
I know.
Listen here.
We're on a boat.
I wanted to talk about this
Bitch.
last episode we recorded, but I skipped it because we were taking a long time. I was on Twitter. And once again, I'm on Twitter a lot. It's just where I chill sometimes. And I saw a picture. This is to let the audience know how afraid I am of water.
Bob has thalassophobia, but he also just has general water
fears. It was a picture, and it was this, somewhere out. I don't even remember where it was. It was somewhere not in America. But basically, it's a place where there's so much salt in the water that you float. It makes you buoyant. Sea? It's not the Black Sea, but it was because it wasn't very big. It was like a pool of water, probably 10 feet across in all directions, 10-foot circle of water.
I was going to say the Black Sea isn't that big, but it's bigger than that.
It's not very. Yeah, this was a small. And the thing is, it went really deep, so you couldn't see the bottom. So there was a dude demonstrating that he could float on top of the water because of the salt levels. Mm-hmm. And I almost had a panic attack watching that video because I couldn't see what was in the water beneath him, and it freaked me out.
You know what's cooler than that? If we're talking like high salt areas,
Dead Sea?
Dead Sea, yes. Oh, that's what I was thinking of instead of the Black Sea, Dead Sea.
Yeah.
No, have you seen those underwater lakes?
Oh yeah, we've talked about
Talked
this.
to you about those?
Yeah, you showed me a video of an eel getting
I thought
annihilated.
they're so cool.
They're really cool.
Basically, there's these areas where the water has a lot more salt than the ambient water.
Yeah.
They're on the bottom of the ocean, and so the content of like salt and minerals is so much higher that the water separates. So there's this layer of water that's heavier than the rest of the water.
It's like looks all murky beneath it.
like a puddle.
Yeah.
It looks like water underwater.
It's very, very cool.
If you ever see Goo Lagoon in SpongeBob, it's kind of like that. Which it was probably based on. That's probably what Goo Lagoon was based on.
Probably.
But they're so high in salt that if things swim into them, they die.
Yeah. It was wild.
So there's things like, the only things that live in them are like mussels that live along the edges. But you can sometimes look up clips on like YouTube for National Geographic, and like a fish will swim into it like an eel.
Yep.
And they'll start spasming because they go into toxic shock.
Yep. That's
Wild.
so much salt, man. Okay.
Hey, Bob, you want to see a thalassophobia clip?
What do you... Oh, God. Please don't. Well, like I'm telling you, if we ever get to a point of the show where we're like watching ocean movies, I will have a panic attack. Like, I can't handle it, man. Like, the bay was bad, but that wasn't really in the water, so it wasn't, like, that bad. The scary part was the fact that it came from the water. This is...
Came from the water.
Oh.
I'm trying to see if I can find a good thalassophobia pic for Bob.
What is that even... A good one? That's... No.
Hey, Bob, look.
God, it makes me uncomfortable, man. That makes me so uncomfortable. It's so scary. It's so scary.
I think it's so cool. For anyone who's interested, I can scuba dive. This is all underwater. I can scuba dive. I've scuba dived in like the open ocean. I think it's very, very cool.
Sure. Give the coolest word you want to use.
I actually think Bob could do it. I think Bob can do it.
Oh, you will not catch me near the ocean. Absolutely not. No. I'll go to the beach. I'll stand on the beach and look at the water, but I will not get in that water.
I think we could do it. I think I could get you out there.
You would have to drag me.
Yeah. Strap an oxygen mask to you and then drop you in.
Oh, no.
Then we leave.
No. The idea of me jumping, like, no. I can't even imagine myself jumping in the ocean. That's how bad it is. It's fucking scary, Ben. There are things in the ocean that can eat me.
If we ever get to like 1 million subscribers on YouTube,
no.
Would you ever go out into the middle of the ocean?
Mm-mm. No. You want me to have a panic attack?
Yes.
Because that's what'll happen.
Yes.
Instant. We'll get on that boat and I'll fucking die.
You don't have to get in the water. We're just going to take you on a boat into the middle of the sea.
I might be able to handle that.
Okay.
That might be okay.
Maybe we have you jump in.
No.
Maybe we get a shark cage? You
No.
wanna go into a shark cage? I want to go into a shark cage.
No.
We can do it. All right.
No.
Plans are in order.
Fuck off.
All right. So I'm going to go back to the film because we keep getting sidetracked.
I keep getting sidetracked. I'm really trying.
I did this so many times. 37th time. I need to talk about new things. 2009 movie.
Took 37 times for us to talk about that.
Well, no, but like we talk about different random stuff every time.
Okay, that's fair.
Length's an hour and 39 minutes long.
Okay.
It's rated R.
Okay.
IMDb score 6.9 out of 10.
Better than the last movie.
Tomato meter 80%.
More people like it.
An audience score 66.
Okay. We're looking up.
Awards. 1 win and 5 nominations.
Okay.
The win is the Gerardmer Film Festival Award in 2011 to Christopher Smith for Best Direct-to-Video Film.
Oh, okay. So this one's direct-to-video.
Yeah.
Interesting.
People to look out for in this film. Melissa George as Jess. You might know her as Stella Olsen in 30 Days of Night. Pretty decent vampire film.
Oh, okay.
Set
That's cool.
in Alaska.
Oh, that's really cool.
It's called 30 Days of Night because it's
in Alaska. Oh, I didn't even think about
a while.
Oh, man.
Like
being a vampire in Alaska is awesome.
Right?
I didn't even think about that.
Just anywhere above
the Arctic Circle.
Arctic Circle, yeah. Michael Dorman as Greg. You might know him as Ton Griffin and The Invisible Man.
I haven't seen The Invisible Man. I haven't seen that one.
Yeah, I know you haven't. That was pretty obvious.
I heard it's scary, though. Yeah.
I really like the original Invisible Man.
See, I haven't seen that either.
I love that movie.
We'll get to it.
Love early movies, especially pre-code movies. They're so weird. He's also Joe Pickett from Joe Pickett.
I've heard of that, but I don't know what that is.
New TV show. I think it's still on air.
Yeah.
Rachel Caparni as Sally. You might know her as Jodie Fountain McLeod from McLeod's Daughters.
That also sounds familiar.
It's a TV show that ran from 2001 to 2009.
She's
like
probably
on 179 episodes. So
oh my God.
pretty good for her. Liam Hemsworth as Victor.
Oh, okay.
You might know him as Gale Hawthorne in The Hunger Games or Jake Morrison in Independence Day.
Yeah.
Resurgence.
One of the Hemsworths is in this, huh?
Yes.
It's not Chris, but it's Liam.
Yeah, it's Liam.
All right. That's pretty cool.
Writer-director Christopher Smith. He also wrote direct Severance in 2006 and Consecration in 2023.
Oh, wow.
Both horror movies, so
Yeah.
he's done some other stuff, but those are
I've
some of the
heard
big ones.
heard of Severance before. I've heard
Okay.
it's good.
It's about some office workers and stuff. So
Yeah.
hence Severance is the name. Budget was $12 million.
That's quite
It's estimated.
large.
Box office 1.3. Direct to video, Bob.
Oh yeah. That's why.
Uh,
Okay. Makes way more
Interestingly
sense.
enough, I was looking at this. I didn't write it down, so I can't tell you the specifics. He got some money by lottery to make this film
Oh,
from the government.
interesting. That's pretty cool.
That happens sometimes. Not in this country, because this is a United Kingdom film.
Oh, so you can. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Why Liam Hemsworth is in it.
Yeah, apparently the film board in...
Wait, he's from Australia. What am I talking about?
Is he?
I'm pretty sure the Hemsworth are aren't they Australian?
I don't know. I don't know much
I could be
about them.
lying to you, actually. I genuinely don't know.
I've seen some films that are foreign,
Yeah.
especially UK or UK films have lottery pools for the film boards, basically to encourage film production from that country.
Oh yeah, that's really cool. I appreciate that because I said this on the episode that came out that we did with Abby when we watched. I have a large appreciation for foreign film now
Yeah.
that I didn't have before, and I really enjoy seeing stuff that isn't made in America because I think it's interesting.
It's different.
It's different and cool,
Right.
usually.
I don't know how common that practice is, but I've seen a couple films just looking through IMDb and stuff where it's this person received money from the government to make a film. My guess is it's kind of an economy boost thing. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's like a grant, and it's hey, you make a film that gives money to the film industry,
Mhm.
stuff like that.
Makes sense.
But yeah, UK film. The film's also known as Avaleva Triangle. That's the Finland name, which means ghost ship triangle.
Oh god damn it.
The other interesting one I found was Navagio Stin Paranoia, and that's the Greek title. Roughly translates into shipwrecked in insanity.
Awesome. So cool.
Tagline. You ready?
Yeah.
Fear comes in waves.
That's so cheesy.
I like it. I almost included the German title, which was Triangle. Fear comes in waves. Just in German.
That's funny.
All right, so
Oh god.
fun film facts.
A little interjection. Liam Hemsworth is Australian.
Oh, is he?
I looked it up.
Okay. Are the rest of the brothers Australian?
I would assume so.
You never know. So the film was shot entirely in Queensland, Australia,
Oh, that okay. Cool.
even though the film is set in Miami, Florida.
What?
Interestingly enough,
Okay.
both states are known as the Sunshine State in their home country.
Oh,
Um,
interesting.
a nickname that is apparently, this is a fun fact I looked up, but is apparently visible on one of the road signs
Wow.
in the movie. It just lines up pretty well.
That's pretty cool.
The version of Anchors Away, so a song we can hear in
Mhm.
this film, is performed by Glenn Miller and his orchestra. In December 1944, Glenn Miller's aircraft disappeared over the English Channel in an often considered Bermuda Triangle event.
What the fuck? That is
Listen.
whack.
Yeah, very famous brass player back in
Oh
the
my
40s.
god. Listen, okay.
Around the war time. He was going to Paris to do a show, I assume, for GIs.
Oh,
So-
yeah. That makes sense.
Didn't make it there. His band did.
What? Oh god,
They
that's
went
so
on a
whack.
separate fight.
Yeah.
He took a...
Personal plane probably.
Wasn't supposed to.
Wild.
Gone. That's all I got for pre-movie stuff, so.
Listen, I think I could maybe handle the ocean, okay?
I'm on a boat.
I'm on a boat. But the fact that this is also a Bermuda Triangle movie, I don't know if I've ever told you this.
Oh, yeah. By the way, actual Bermuda Triangle. You know Bermuda Triangle's right off Miami, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so when I was younger, I used to do a lot of research into interesting topics such as Bigfoot, the Loch Ness
Oh,
Monster.
I love cryptids. They're so
I
much fun.
did a lot of cryptid reading when I was in early middle school, late elementary school, because when I went to the library, it was you had to take you're basically required to take a book. So I was like, this book's about Bigfoot. I'm gonna read this. I read a book on the Bermuda Triangle.
looks like me.
I was not that hairy as a child, but okay.
I don't know. You could have been.
I'm hairy now, but not back then. I found a book on the Bermuda Triangle. I read it once and went, I'm never stepping foot in that bitch. I'm irrationally afraid of the Bermuda Triangle.
I don't know what the technical reason is for how many disappearances there are.
There is none,
I
from
think
what I
it's
could tell.
just a really big area that has bad storms because of where it is in the tropics.
Yeah.
And there's like a high amount of people going through there, so there's just a high amount of
There are so many,
disappearances.
depending on what disappearance you're looking at in the Bermuda Triangle, there are so many different explanations for what could have caused it. And every single one is completely different. Like, it's such a big area, and it's so varying in what could cause these things.
I mean, I think it's coincidence, and it's one of those things where we notice because we've noticed it.
Yeah,
so
I mean,
this
it's
thing
like
stand out.
when you pick up on a pattern, you notice the pattern for the sake of the pattern, not because
Yeah.
it's actually a pattern.
It's not a false positive, but it's something like that.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
With that being said, I think what's interesting about the Bermuda Triangle is the fact that there's apparently conditions that make disappearances
yeah.
of like planes and boats very common.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think that's interesting. It's like, hey, there's this natural area on the globe where there's a high amount of like shipwrecks or down planes, but then there's also the perfect conditions to keep them from being discovered again.
Yeah.
I think that's all pretty cool.
It's fucking scary, man. I'm just hoping, I think I know what's going to happen in this movie. Kind of. Like, I have an idea.
Oh, you know what? Tell me right now. What do you think's going to happen in this movie?
Well, okay. Well, since I know the concept of the movie, I'm assuming they're going to be like, we're going on a boating trip. They're going to hit the Bermuda Triangle. They're going to be stuck on a boat because they can't go anywhere because they're living the same day.
Oh, okay.
Over and over. And they're going to
Yeah,
be
see,
stuck on the boat.
That's the only problem with like a category like this. You know there's going to be time stuff.
Yeah. So that's
Not necessarily a time loop, though.
not a
I
time.
just
It
said
might not
time
be a
stuff.
time loop. It might be something else. But my only thing is, there's a low chance of sea monsters in this movie. And that is all that is what's scary. Like, if we hit sea monster, I'm out. I can't. I will not entertain.
I know some good sea monster movies.
No.
I am so excited for when we do the ocean as a category.
No.
Boats.
No.
Maybe when you choose oceans, I do boats.
I see. I wouldn't mind boat movies. There are probably some pretty good boat-based movies. Well, there's what's that movie? Ghost Ship? Or is that the
Ghost
good
Ship.
one? Yeah, I wouldn't mind stuff like that. That's cool. But my problem
All right,
is,
when you choose ocean, I'll choose boats.
what's the random at that point? Beaches?
Beaches.
That's the triple B.
Boats, beaches, Battlestar
Boats.
Galactica.
Okay. All right. I think I've prepared myself mentally enough to go watch this
All right,
movie.
you ready? That was a really long opening, solely because I knew you couldn't do it.
I can't, man. I'm freaking out. Okay.
It won't be that bad.
Oh, you keep saying that.
It really won't.
Okay. I'm ready. I guess we're going to go watch this movie.
All right, we'll see you in a bit.
Bye. And we're back. Hi, everybody. We just finished watching Triangle.
Yeah, so initial thoughts before we get into spoilers?
Okay, not what I expected.
Yeah.
Which was cool.
Yeah.
I liked it. Thought it was a fun movie. Right off the bat, I'm just going to say, I don't think it's scary,
No,
but it's cool.
it's not supposed to be scary.
It's definitely cool and very sad. Cool and sad, my two descriptors for this movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great recommendation there.
I don't know. I don't
You
really
want to be
I don't want to really
awed and sad at the same time.
Yeah, well, I just don't really want to talk about I don't really have anything I can say without spoiling it, basically.
Yeah,
Because it's really hard to talk about it and not spoil
In
it.
fact, I think my description of this movie when we get to the breakdown is going to be very vague.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
But I guess if you guys want to go watch the movie with some time stuff,
Yeah, it's cool.
now's the time to watch it. I don't think it was bad.
No, I like it, actually.
Bob liked it. It's kind of batshit, but
It's kind of batshit, but it's kind of awesome, too.
it's good. I'm going to stress a lot of it's kind of the reveal of what's happening.
Yeah.
So if you actually want to like really enjoy the movie, I'd recommend watching it without knowing what happens.
Yeah, I would definitely watch it before we talk about it.
Knowing what happens
Ruins it.
doesn't ruin it. It's just different. Like you go into the movie and you play the game of, all right, let me look for things, you know?
Yeah, that's
but
fair.
The story itself is not very enjoyable if you know what happens.
Mhm. I do want to talk about the end of the movie in immense detail
No, we will
because
talk
I
about
think
that in
that's
immense
so
detail.
fucking cool.
We're just not going to talk about the exact specifics of what happens.
Yes.
But we're just going to give it an overarching.
Yeah.
But we're going to do that right now. So
Spoilers
last chance.
ahead.
Go watch it. So
Yeah.
spoilers.
Oh, what do we watch this on? So they
No.
know where to find it?
Oh yeah. We haven't been mentioned that recently. This was on Shudder.
Yep, Shudder on this one, which is nice because
Woo!
at least we didn't have to buy it.
Yep. Always great. All right. You ready for spoilers?
Yes.
All right,
Oh
let's
my
get to the
God,
breakdown.
this movie's fucking. It was a lot different than I expected, and I think part of that is I really did not expect the extra boat. The extra
Yeah.
boat threw me off.
So what ends up happening is Jess is the main character.
Yes.
She's a mom of a kid, Tommy, who has severe autism.
Yeah.
and she's going on a cruise, and basically like a yacht cruise with like a friend of hers and that guy's friends,
and his shipmate.
and his shipmate.
Yeah.
Because the guy, his name's Greg.
Yes,
Just
Greg.
really nice dude.
He's actually, I like Greg. Greg is a nice man.
Really, really nice guy. Because, like, he invited Jess along.
Yeah.
Maybe because he's into her, but also maybe because he thought she needed it.
It's fair. She looks very stressed.
Or Vic, the Greg's shipmate, he was like, yeah, he was just some guy who was living on the docks, but, like, I have extra room, so I was like, he can live here.
Yeah, he can work on my boat and live on my boat. It's fine.
Especially because kid's, like, 18.
Yeah. Probably doesn't have anywhere else to be or go. So.
Way too young to be homeless.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, they're going on this yacht cruise. Once they're in the middle of the ocean, there's a big storm. Basically, the wind cuts out of nowhere.
Yeah. And they're on a sailboat, so they can't go anywhere.
There's a big storm out of nowhere.
Yep.
It rips the sails off. It flips the boat.
Capsizes that bitch.
One of the people, Heather, gets sucked out a port window.
That's
She's
the
gone.
last time we see her the entire fucking
Heather.
movie. She dies and disappears in the first, 20 minutes of the film?
Yeah, maybe 5 minutes after her introduction.
Yeah, she's instantly gone.
And then everyone else, the boat's flipped over, but it's still floating. Everyone climbs on top of it. So Vic, who's the shipmate, Greg, the ship's owner, Jess, the main character, and then
Downey and Sally.
Downey and Sally.
Who are both Greg's friends.
Yeah, and they're a couple. And they're all on the back of the
On the-
top of the boat, whatever.
Yeah.
The upside down boat. And they're sitting there. And then they look to the side and look up. There's a cruise liner coming towards us.
Heading straight for you.
Called the Aeolus. The sailboat they were on was called
Oh,
Triangle.
that reminds me of something else I want to talk about. God damn it.
That's
so cool.
So that's where the movie's name comes from, is the sailboat they're on.
Yep.
But yeah, this Aeolus, this big old cruise liner, shows up. They hop on board.
Yeah, because they see someone on the top of the ship, like, walking around. So, like, oh, shit, we could be saved.
Yeah, and basically from this point on, almost all the movie happens
On the boat.
on the boat. And they get on, and weird stuff happening.
Mm-hmm.
A couple minutes on, maybe 10, 20 minutes after they're on the boat, Jess starts encountering people who are bleeding.
Yeah, which is odd.
And then there's someone shooting at her.
Yep. There's also just random, like, blood spots on the boat.
Yeah, things are weird happening. And eventually there's this reveal that, like, once everyone's dead, Jess is she's standing on the top, and she sees her friends on the boat.
Where
the
they came
yacht,
from. Yep.
Where they came from. And apparently the person they saw on the boat
Was Jess.
was Jess.
Which is so interesting.
And basically, it's kind of revealed Jess is in this time loop on the boat.
Yeah.
That, like, every time all her friends die, a new boat shows up.
With all of her friends and an extra copy of her on
And an
it.
extra copy of her.
So basically, her goal, I don't know if this is too spoilery, is to kill everyone and then stop them from getting on the boat.
No, yes and no. Her goal is to prevent everyone from getting on the boat.
Yeah.
Because she comes to the conclusion that
If they don't get on the boat, they won't die or be stuck.
But I think it's also like they're stuck on the boat. The only way they get off the boat is to never have gotten on it.
Yeah.
Because it's cursed or whatever. And so...
They don't really explain why anything in this movie happens.
Yeah. Well, they kind of do.
Well, yeah, I guess...
Bermuda Triangle!
Spoiler,
it's in the Bermuda Triangle.
Yeah.
I think that's basically all the reason it needs.
That's fair.
Personally. But the whole thing, though, is her plan is to kill everyone and then very quickly get down to the, there's like a gangway.
Like the landing bay or whatever.
Yeah, it's basically this boat has a pair of stairs that go down to water level.
Yeah.
Theoretically, when it pulled up the dock, you could just walk up those. But her plan is to kill everyone and then run down there really fast and basically hold them at gunpoint so they never get on the boat.
Yep. Essentially saving them from the fate that she is stuck with.
But right when Jess starts being the mass killer that's killing everyone,
Yeah.
She gets defeated by another Jess and pushed off the side of the boat.
Yep.
She gets washed ashore, and apparently she gets washed ashore back at the beginning of the movie.
Yep, because that's where it opens,
Because
right?
she gets back to her house, and we see clips from the beginning of the movie, kind of like the cold open.
Yeah, because at the beginning of the movie, one of the big things, or the thing that caught me on it most is when she goes outside, because someone rings her doorbell. First of all, they're not there. And her neighbor's outside mowing the grass, and the sprinkler's going off. And when she's running back to her house, the exact same thing is happening.
Exact same thing happens.
The sprinkler's going off, and her neighbor's mowing his grass.
But this time it's recontextualized because we get
Yes.
to see what happens. Just kind of shitty mom.
Oh my God, she sucks. The whole movie, she's talking about how much her son means to her and how he's her world.
Yeah.
And like how she's doing this for him to get back to him. And oh my God, she sucks as a
then
mother.
we get to see the beginning of the movie again. She slaps the shit out of her kid for like dropping some paint on the ground.
Like, yeah, it's...
And she's yelling at him because he left the toy outside. Which
This kid is severely autistic.
I get being frustrated.
That is fair.
And I get being stressed out, but the way she treats her kid
Is not
okay.
good. No.
you know,
horrific,
he's
actually.
a special needs kid. You can't. It's not good behavior.
No, absolutely not. And
I get how hard that can be, but it's also just not a good way of handling it.
Not at all.
Basically, the Jess we've been following.
Yep.
Which I'm gonna let's call her Alpha Jess.
Sure.
Alpha Jess goes into the shed, grabs a hammer, and murders
the Jess in this timeline.
Which we're gonna call Theta Jess.
Theta?
Yeah.
Okay. Random Greek number.
She murders Theta Jess.
Essentially replacing her in this timeline.
Puts her in a duffel bag.
Shoves her in her trunk.
Throws her in the trunk, which is another opening scene we do see.
Yeah. Before the thing is, so this completely recontextualizes the way the movie opens, because it made absolutely no fucking sense to me why, and I caught it at the beginning of the movie. I didn't understand why it was weird. Her son, Tommy, spills blue paint. She has to clean it up. She's wearing a dress with flower prints on it. When you see it the first time, you see her clean it up, you see her go into her room, and you see her come out in different clothes with the dress with the blue paint on it in the bag. And I was like, we didn't see her change. That was about 10 seconds. There's no way she got out of those clothes, put them in that duffel bag, and then, like, skedaddled.
There's a jump in time.
There isn't a jump in time there. Because what happened is she killed the other Jess, took the dress and put it in her bag to try and hide it, and put that Jess in, like, the duffel bag with everything over top of it. And that's why she's wearing different clothes when she comes out of the room. And I questioned it the first time we saw it.
Well, no, the Jess at the beginning's wearing... Theta Jess is still wearing the dress. She never takes it off of her.
Then where does that come from in the bag?
I think it's just a different dress.
But it has the blue paint on it.
Did it?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yes, because that's the whole point, is when she's scrubbing around through the bag, you see the part of the dress that has blue paint on it, and she shoves it to the side and shoves it in.
Oh, maybe it was.
But that's why she has different clothes on about 10 seconds later in the beginning of the movie. And I questioned it, but I was like, whatever. It was just some weird time thing. Like, it's just a weird, like, continuity thing that didn't really matter. But it makes total sense once you see the beginning of the movie again, from the perspective of Alpha Jess.
Are you sure it was the blue dress in the bag?
I'm almost positive.
I think Theta Jess was still wearing it. Either that, she changed her into a similar dress, or I guess Theta Jess might have changed already.
Maybe. I have no idea. I just noticed that.
Actually, that might make sense. She might have just changed to a similar dress.
Yeah.
Anyways, Theta Jess is in a bag they throw in the trunk.
Yeah.
And Alpha Jess starts driving down the street with her kid.
Yep.
And she's kind of talking to her kid, not paying attention.
Yeah.
And a bird hits the window.
Splatters blood all over.
Dead burb.
Dead bird.
Dead burb. And her kid's freaking out because dead burb.
Yeah.
And so Jess gets out of the car. She pulls over, gets out of the car, grabs dead burb.
And she's like, I'm going to go bury it, because she feels like that'll make him calm down. Like, it'll put him at ease with the situation that has just occurred.
So she takes it. She walks to the side, because they're in Florida. There's a lot of ocean.
Yeah.
She walks to the side of this parking lot, which just happens to be like sand and then the ocean. And she stares down because there's a pile of dead burbs.
Meaning that this has happened a couple of times now.
And we know that because in the time loops on the boat,
everything stays, basically.
Everything stays. So bodies build up.
Unless
someone gets rid of, which we learned that Alpha Jess was doing.
Yeah.
But basically, she throws the dead burb onto
the pile of corpses.
On the pile of dead burbs. She get back in the car.
Tommy is not over it.
Tommy is over the bird dying. He's now freaking out because there's blood on the window.
Yeah.
And she tries to windshield wipe it off.
Yeah.
She's not paying attention to the road. She swerves in front of a semi.
It
hits the car.
Cool car stunt.
It flips the car everywhere. And then there's a cut.
Mm-hmm.
And then when the cut ends, you realize there's Theta Jess on the road.
Yep.
But there's Tommy on the road.
Yes.
And then we see Alpha Jess standing looking at the crash.
Mm-hmm.
And like a cab driver comes up to her and offers her a ride.
He asked where, and she says the marina.
And then Alpha Jess drives back to the marina, and then we see the beginning of the movie again. Or
and
at least her arriving at the marina again.
Yeah.
Because she was acting weird when we see her arrive at the marina.
And we don't really know why.
Because we were following Greg the first time, and now we're following her.
Yep.
Yeah. That's the movie. We left out a lot of what happened.
We left out a lot of the middle because it's the reveal of what is going on.
It's the reveal. I mean, obviously, you kind of already know now that there's a time loop.
Yeah.
And we're going to break it down a lot more when we get to discussing it, but that's the breakdown.
Yeah.
Anything you want to talk about, or do you want me to just bring up talking notes?
I want to talk specifically about the end of the movie.
Yes.
But I'm trying to think if there's anything I want to talk about before we get there, because there's some cool stuff. I will say I talked about this. This movie's very pretty.
Mm-hmm.
It's set on the ocean, of course, which helps.
Say this. Ocean shots just look pretty in general.
They're just pretty, but there's a lot of really, really good shots of people being lit by the sun and like with good backlighting and stuff. I think while this movie is not scary, it's a very atmospheric movie. Like, you can feel it when they first get on the boat. It feels very empty, and it feels very creepy in a way that I'm not really used to, I guess. It feels very hollow, which is an interesting thing to feel in a movie that wasn't really that scary.
Yeah. I think that works.
Yeah, no, it works. It's cool.
It's the emptiness of the Aeolus, which is the name of the cruiser.
Did you see that that drum at the end of the movie?
Yeah. So what Bob's talking about is
so cool.
On the boat, during a certain section, we hear a record player going.
Yeah.
And it's playing the song I mentioned in the first half of this podcast, Anchors Away.
Yeah.
But when she pulls over to bury the dead Birb, we see a marching band playing in the kind of like the field next to her.
Yeah.
And it's like a kid's marching band, maybe.
Probably high school.
High school. I guess it's high school.
Probably high school.
Very bad at telling how old kids are, though. But we see one of the kids from the marching band looking at the car crash afterwards. Yeah. And he's kind of sitting on the ground being like, what the fuck? And he's dropped his drum. And his drum has an A and an O symbol. Yeah. Which is the same symbol
as on the boat.
Well, it's the symbol we see on the drums and stuff in the boat's band room. Yeah. Like when they're exploring it, it's the Aeolus symbol. Interesting little teaser. But what were you going to say?
I don't know if I don't want to skip right to the end of the movie, but it's my favorite part.
Talk about whatever you want.
Okay.
You talk about what you need, and then I have notes to talk about. We'll get to those. So
okay, cool.
Just do you.
So we get to the end of the movie. And after the car crash, this is something that I picked up on that I think is so fucking cool. Because, like, in most mythologies and or religions, there is some sort of transport to or from the place of the dead.
Yes.
You cannot tell me I'm wrong on this, because I believe this 100%, and I think I'm right. That cab driver at the end is definitely just taking her to the other side, right?
Maybe.
Because the lighting gets real low, and he's like, you can't save the boy. Like, you can't. Like, Tommy's dead, basically. And he's like, do you need a ride? And she says, yes, the marina. She's just experiencing purgatory. That is what is happening to her. She is dead.
Sort of.
She is experiencing a permanent loop of absolute hellish-like proportions.
That's, yeah, kind of.
I mean, that's my interpretation of it, is she died probably in that original car crash, and she's reliving that moment, and then it's making her relive a horrific experience over and over.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, whether you think that be God or, some other sort of divine punishment.
Yeah. So do you want me to talk about that?
Yes, because I think it's so cool.
That was one of my talks.
Yeah, I assumed so, because it's pretty obvious, but it's so interesting.
So
because you don't get any hints about it until the end of the movie.
I think you're right. The driver is
a symbolism for something like Charon, or
not an actual driver. He's probably Charon, which is the ferryman in Greek mythology.
Yeah,
that takes you down the river Styx.
Oh, I have some more Greek things to talk about in a minute.
And it can be assumed that probably Jess died in the original car accident.
Yes. That is my assumption.
That's kind of what we see there, is her dying in the original car accident. And that's why, like, when it cuts to her standing over the accident, things get darker.
Yeah.
And theoretically, the driver's supposed to take her to the afterlife, but she makes the choice not to go, essentially. That's essentially
interesting.
What happens.
I didn't think about that.
Jess goes, because the driver tells her, hey, you can't do anything for him. It's too late. Her kid, I mean.
Yeah.
Right? Which, I don't know if Tommy's dead.
I don't know either.
He might be. But there was a bunch of people over him.
Yeah.
And no one over
Jess's.
Over dead Jess.
Yeah.
Theta Jess. So Tommy might be alive. But anyways, the driver tells her, hey, there's nothing you can do for him. Where do you want me to take you?
Yeah.
And she chooses to go to Marina.
See, I don't...
Marina. And what that can be seen as is her trying to fight death, right?
That's what I was going to talk about.
And this story is supposed to be inspired by the idea of a Sisyphean task.
Yeah, that's what I was going to talk about in a minute.
Is,
yeah, damn, stole my points.
I know. I already had these points. These are my points.
I know, but they're cool. I like them.
But a Sisyphean task is essentially like an impossible task, and it comes from the story of Sisyphus.
Yeah.
Basically, he was a king in Greek mythology, and he essentially cheated death.
Yeah.
And so his punishment when he eventually died is that he would have to push a boulder up a hill, and every time he gets to the top, the boulder rolls back down and crushes him.
Yep.
And he has to do it over and over and over again. And so that's kind of what happens in this story, obviously.
Yeah.
We watch basically Alpha Jess get on the boat, do all the things, and then arrive at this car accident, get in the cab, and then do it again. Because
she's unwilling to accept her own demise, I guess.
Well, I think she's given the Sisyphean task because she does not accept death, right?
Yeah, because she's attempting to cheat it.
There's this off chance that every time she goes back, she gets back to Tommy and she can do things different.
Yeah.
I think that lines up.
I think it does too. Totally matches everything we saw in the movie.
In a similar state, though, the Aeolus, the cruise liner, can also be seen as a form of purgatory.
That's what I was thinking.
She's not allowed to go to, whatever afterlife. She's stuck in this limbo.
Yeah. That's the way I interpreted it the first time.
Also, thing with the ferryman, because he says he's just a driver.
Yeah.
I think he's definitely Kieran. That's
I mean, yeah,
that's my
that is
rule, and
absolutely 100%.
since there's so many references to Greek
That was the
mythology
first
here.
thing I thought as soon as I saw him.
And besides the color palette shifts, which are like very indicative.
Yeah, and also like it emphasizes the fact that he's a cab driver, which is someone who in a modern take would be considered like a ferryman of sorts.
The thing that I guess why I'm bringing it back to him. Do you know the moment where she decides to like not accept her fate?
No, I didn't really catch it.
So she has to be driven to the pier.
Yeah.
That's fine. They stop. She gets out,
Mhm.
and he says, "I'm gonna leave the meter running.
Oh yeah,
Are you coming back?"
and she says, "I promise."
And she says, "I promise." She lies. I think that's also the meter running thing is like a reference, I think, to the fact that you have to pay the ferryman.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
That's why they used to put gold coins over your eyes when you died.
they put coins, don't they?
Well, yeah, coins.
Yep. So that's that. Do you have any other?
That was the big one.
Okay. Do you have anything else?
Yeah, one other thing. So I don't know if this is really a spoiler, but throughout the movie, like the first time we go through the ship, it's shot completely from the perspective of Alpha Jess, the Jess that we start with.
Yeah, it's
Is
from
the
her
Jess,
perspective.
you get everything from whatever she is seeing. After the first death or whatever, the first loop,
Yeah.
it's then shot from a different perspective that shows the angles where, because throughout when they're exploring the ship the first time, you'll see people moving around
Yeah.
in the background or in mirrors and things, and you don't really know who it is or what's going on. And the second time around, it shows you those same shots, but from the angle of the Jess that's standing in those positions. So it always
it's still from Alpha Jess' perspective.
yeah,
It's just she's somewhere else on the ship now.
but it totally matches up with where they were seeing people walk around the first time
Yeah.
through, and it's so fucking cool.
That's how everything on the ship lines up.
Yeah, it's
everything
so
has
rad.
happened because it's happened.
It's so well done because it's so detailed. Like it all makes sense once you lock it in. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Because there was stuff at the beginning where how does that happen? That doesn't make any sense. And I'm like, oh, now that makes sense now because it's this Jess doing this while this Jess is doing that. It's just very confusing at first, but once you get it, it's fun
Yeah,
and
I
interesting
think
and
so.
cool. I don't know. That's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
Nothing else.
I don't think so.
Okay. So I'm gonna start my talk.
Sure.
We'll get it. But first one. So sailboat. We've established is named Trying, right?
Yeah.
Whereas the cruise liner is named Aeolus.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's interesting to note that Aeolus is very significantly, well, they mentioned in the movie the father of Sisyphus.
Yeah.
That's not why I think they used the name Aeolus in here. Because
Interesting.
otherwise they would have called the boat like Sisyphus or something.
Mm,
Not as cool sounding.
not as cool.
But if they want to make the Sisyphus reference, they would have just called the boat Sisyphus.
Yeah.
I think the reason they named the boat Aeolus is because in Greek mythology, there's 3 Aeoluses, and
Oh,
they're
God.
often confused as one person.
Ah. Oh, and there's
why are
that's
you
good.
laughing?
That's good. That's funny.
Okay.
No, like that's interesting. There are 3 Jesses, buddy.
Well, yeah, there is.
That's the point, and they're always getting them confused.
Well, there's 3 Jesses, and then there's. Well, I thought the real reason I think is it's to line up with the boat. So the boat's name's Triangle,
yeah.
and then obviously
Oh, 3 points. 3
Aeolus.
Jesses.
3 Jesses, the boat's named Triangle, and then Aeolus, which is just basically another fancy way of saying triangle.
And it took her 3 loops.
So yeah, and that's the thing on the ship. There's 3 loops going on.
Yeah.
There's her first time on the boat, her second time watching it happen, and then her third time being the aggressor.
Yep.
And there's 3 Jesses. Alpha Jess, the one we follow the whole time, and the one we see going through the loops over and over again.
Yeah.
Theta Jess, the one who gets murked in the house.
And then the Jess
Then there's Omega Jess.
the one that throws her off the boat and stays, I assume.
No. So Omega Jess, there's only 2 Jesses on the boat.
Yeah.
There's Alpha Jess, who is the Jess we follow, right?
Yeah.
She's also the Jess that gets thrown off the boat
Yeah.
the first time around. Then there's Omega Jess. That's the bad Jess.
Yeah.
That's the Jess that murders herself with an axe.
Yeah.
That's also the Jess that Alpha Jess holds up with the gun.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot more unhinged.
Yeah.
Yeah. Alpha, Theta, and Omega.
Wow. I
So,
didn't
yeah.
connect all those 3s. That was good.
There's 3s. If you watch the intro credits again, all the names and even the name of the movie split into
it's split
3.
into 3. God
Yeah.
damn.
There's a bunch of 3 references throughout the movie.
Huh. That's
So,
really
just fun.
cool.
3 Jesses, 3 timelines.
Listen, I'm a little slut for details, man. I love when movies are super detailed like
all
this.
the boats are named Triangle, essentially.
Yeah.
Everything's named after 3.
I wonder if there's any significance to like I know the number 3 has some sort of numerical significance, but I don't know off the top of my head. Like I know 7 is like God's number or whatever. You know what I'm talking about?
Well, there's different significance for numbers in different cultures.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like I don't know which one they were going for here.
So 7 means something in some areas that
Yeah.
it means something in different other areas. For 3 though, I think it was just like there's 3 times you go around on the cycle on the boat. So
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it just matches up. It's very neatly packaged. I
Mhm.
liked it.
I gotta say though, the fact that there's only 3 Jesses, very confusing on the boat.
Oh,
I
very.
had to walk through it a couple times in my brain because like it seems like there's 3, but there's only 2 Jesses on the boat.
Yeah. Yeah.
because Jess number 2, Omega Jess, kills herself.
Yeah.
When that's in the third timeline.
Mm-hmm. It's messy, but, it's not that hard to follow.
It's messy in a way that makes sense.
Yeah. It's messy in a way that it has to be to make it make sense. You know what I mean?
So that's kind of the 3 thing.
Yeah.
The other symbolism, we see a lot. No clue what it means. Seagulls.
Yeah,
There
fucking
is
too.
seagulls everywhere.
I have no idea what that means. I don't know what the director was going for or what the writer was going for, but there are seagulls everywhere.
There's a seagull painting in the house.
There's a seagull that... Oh! I just put it together.
What? Do you think you got it?
Huh?
Do you think you got it?
I do think I got it.
Go.
So, very importantly, a seagull follows Jess's car
Yeah, when they're driving.
right before the car crash. Importantly, Greg mentions when they get on the boat, it thinks we're a fishing boat. It's going to go hungry. The reason there are so many seagulls that follow them around is because seagulls are attracted to dead bodies. The only time we see seagulls are when they're headed towards dead bodies. All the bodies on the boat, because we see a bunch of Sallys on the top of the boat being eaten by seagulls. When the seagull follows them in the car, there's a dead body in the trunk.
Fair.
There are other seagulls. There's a seagull painting in the house where Jess murders herself.
Fair.
I think the seagull is just symbolizing it's following the food, the corpse trail.
Oh, you want to get deeper than that?
Sure.
Because I think you're onto something there.
Okay.
Rather than saying it's following a corpse trail. You know how in a lot of things ravens and crows are symbols of death?
Death? Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about.
The seagull's just death.
The seagull's death. It's
Because
just maritime death.
It's not looking for dead bodies. It's following Jess, who's dead.
Oh!
It's like the silent observer.
Yeah.
It's just death.
That's cool. Huh.
It could be Garen, because the only time we don't see a seagull is when he's on screen.
Yeah, that's true. It could also be, that doesn't make sense. Never mind. I just had a brain fart.
And probably, maybe, potentially, the reason why we see the seagull and it's stuck in her mind is because she might have actually killed a seagull before she got in that car accident.
And she might just be, it might just be a
kind of
subconscious thing.
Yeah. Or it's just plaguing her.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of as an
Oh.
apparition.
No, you know what it could be? If she's dead, she's a ghost.
Yeah.
She hit a seagull and killed it. That seagull's probably pissed.
There's a bunch of them.
Yeah. Well, I'm talking about one specific. Because,
I know.
a lot of the time you see one. Unless it's...
Oh, yeah, it's mostly just one.
It's mostly just one. Unless you're looking at, the Sallys where there were a fuck ton. Or, the corpses on the ground where she tossed it over the pier.
Yeah. I'm going to go with it's just the embodiment of death in this movie.
Yeah, it makes sense. Totally makes sense.
That would be mine. Just the embodiment
It also
of
makes
death.
sense because, how would... I'm getting kind of esoteric, I guess. But how would Death know that she needs to be picked up? He's watching the whole time. He is the seagull.
Yeah.
Makes sense. That's fucking rad. I had a lot more to say about this movie than I thought I was going to before we watched it.
If it's death as an esoteric entity, it doesn't have to be one seagull. It could be all the seagulls.
Yeah, exactly.
Including the one that fucking dies.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Fun to work that out.
That was cool.
Death's present everywhere. It's omnipotent death.
Yeah, whatever. We're all dying eventually.
All right. Next thing. There are multiple references to The Shining. in
Are
this
there?
movie.
I didn't catch that. The axe.
It's the axe, yes.
The axe
That's
is a
not
big
the
one.
one I'm talking about.
Oh.
It's very much one specific reference. 237.
Oh.
The room with the mirrors, room 237. I think her house is house number 237.
Didn't notice that.
That's the room in The Shining where a bunch of stuff happens.
Oh, okay. That's cool. Cool.
Very specifically, Shining, the movie, the Kubrick movie, not the book.
Oh, yeah.
The book, it's room 217.
Oh. Why'd they change that? Do you know?
Kubrick.
Okay. Just Kubrick being Kubrick?
Yeah, if you know anything about The Shining, have you seen it?
I've never seen it. I haven't read it either.
Very historically, it's a very, very, very bad adaptation.
Really?
Real bad.
Huh.
Is it a good movie? Yeah. Not everyone's cup of tea.
I know
but
people like it.
Some people like it, some people don't. And I can get why you don't. It can be kind of slow.
Like most Kubrick films.
Yeah. But it's a very bad adaptation. Very famously, Stephen King hates it because
Really?
he's like, this is the worst because it's such a bad adaptation, and he's kind of upset.
Yeah.
But obviously the movie's done so well, no one's gonna remake it. So basically, this book that he's very proud of
I might read The Shining. I don't know.
didn't get adapted well.
I've been thinking about picking up some new books to read. Maybe some horror stuff now that we're doing the show.
Here's a hint.
Mm-hmm.
This is fun information for anyone who listens to the main board. One of the movies we're gonna review on the board has a book that I've read.
Have you finished it?
Yes.
Oh, nice. So when we get to it, we can just talk about it. That's awesome.
But you could read that book whenever we get to that board spot.
I could read that when we get to it. I might. I mean, I haven't started Invincible Compendium 3 because I don't want it to end, so I'm not going to start it yet.
Fair.
So.
But yeah, there's tons of references to The Shining.
That's real cool.
Which I take probably because there's some inspiration there.
Maybe.
Probably
I wouldn't
director. But also because all right, slight spoilers for The Shining, right?
Sure.
There's this idea of basically in the movie The Shining, there's some references to like a haunted area and also like some ideas of not necessarily like time loops, but like
Weird time shenanigans?
kinda.
Okay.
Also the axe.
That was the big
slightly.
one. I mean, because the only part of The Shining that I've seen is when he breaks the door with the axe.
That's the famous scene.
Who is that actor?
Oh, super famous.
Is it Jack Nicholson?
Yeah, it's Jack Nicholson.
Jack Nicholson. I thought so. I had to think about it for a second because his face is very iconic in that scene coming through the door.
Shelley Duvall's also in that, and she is amazing.
Really?
Mostly because I'm not going to tell you that now.
Okay. I mean, we'll probably
We'll
watch
save it for whenever we do that movie.
Yeah. I mean, hell, when we do Stephen King, we might watch fucking The Shining. I don't know.
Could.
I know there are other ones you want to watch, probably.
It's going to be such a hard category to do.
Well, because of the choice, right? Like,
Yeah, there's so many choices.
yeah, it'll be cool though.
And
I'm
a lot of
Stephen
the
King
adaptations aren't good adaptation, but
Yeah.
are sometimes good movies. So next thing, we talked about the Sisyphean task.
fan. Yeah.
So, Greek mythology throughout this.
Yeah. It was cool.
Interesting choice, definitely. So, Alpha Jess is the one we follow through the whole movie, right?
Yeah.
And it's even found out that she's the one, basically she's done this over and over and over and
a
over again.
metric fuck ton of times.
In fact, this is hinted at because in some scenes during her second time loop through the boat, there's like a little jump cut where we'll see her do almost the same thing,
yeah, and then she'll do it slightly differently.
but just for half a second. So
Yep.
it feels like the video skips almost.
Yeah.
I think that was her flashing back to when she did it previous.
Interesting.
Because very distinctly, Jess doesn't remember.
No, she doesn't remember.
And so I think during those scenes, it's kind of the movie's way of showing that she's done this before and she's kind of remembering it.
Yeah.
I think the big hint at this is when she is in the locker room, she has a freak out. And I forget on what you said exactly when we were watching the movie, but you were like, she's going bonanzas.
No, I said she's McFucking losing it.
Yeah, that's what it was. You said she's fucking losing it. Because the scene cuts and she's in a bunch of different places, like freaking out.
Yeah.
I think that was it telling us because those were like different timelines she's done this.
Yeah. That makes total sense now that I think about it.
But yeah, she's done this a bunch of times. We can tell from, for instance, she writes, you have to kill everyone on the ship.
Yeah. Don't let them board
Um,
on some pieces of paper that are all over the
and
ground.
there was like 30, 40 pieces of paper or something.
Yeah.
And she's going to keep doing it. But thing to note is every time she doesn't remember.
Mm-hmm.
Can you determine when she loses her memories? Because I think I know when she lost her memories. Because she knows when she meets up with Greg, when she's boarding the yacht.
Yeah, because she apologizes, and he literally says you have nothing to apologize for.
Although when you first watch the movie, you think it's because she's acting weird.
Yeah. You think it's because there's some, like...
She's had a hard time with her kid.
It's implied that she's had a hard time with Tommy, but also that her and Greg have history, and that she could be apologizing for something that happened in the past.
Yeah. So,
which in this case, I guess she is.
Yeah. When do you think she lost her memory?
Oh, God.
I think it's pretty heavily implied.
Oh, when she takes a nap.
Yeah, when she takes a nap.
That makes total... Yeah.
She gets on the boat.
Yeah.
She falls asleep for, I assume, the first time.
Since she's been...
Since the loop.
That's a long-ass time.
Yeah. Probably only a couple hours. But
yeah,
she takes a nap. She has this bad dream
of
we
waking
think
up.
It's a bad dream. It's her waking up on the beach.
Yep.
Washed ashore. And she wakes up, like, startled.
Yeah.
And Heather, who was there, asked her, hey, what's wrong? And she says, I had a bad dream.
She asked, what's it about?
She's like, I don't remember. I think
Whack.
that's what it was. Her bad dream was everything that happened.
Yeah.
Also, since we're bringing up Heather, Heather just disappears, right?
Heather fucking dies in the first 10 minutes of this movie, and then you
Okay.
never see her again.
Here's a fun theory.
What's up?
Assuming the boat accident actually happened, I bet Heather lived. We don't see her die. She just gets sucked out of the boat with her life vest on.
Yeah.
So she's
probably fine.
Off somewhere else while everyone else is stuck in this fucking time loop.
Getting murdered by their friends.
She might be okay.
She might be the only one that isn't absolutely screwed.
Because I'm going to be honest, I don't know. So assuming there's this whole purgatory and time loop thing, I'm not sure where, like, Greg and Sally and Vic and, what was his name?
Downey
fit into everything. Are they people also stuck in their own kind of purgatory? Or are they just kind of apparitions?
Or are they just... Yeah, I mean, my initial thought is, no, this is just whatever is happening to Jess is creating them.
Yeah.
To make her feel pain.
Maybe.
To make her task more difficult, right? But also then it comes to, well, if she dies in the car crash in the original timeline, she never gets on that boat in real life.
Yeah.
Therefore, they do not die. This is all just part of whatever's happening to her.
They would have still potentially died because they would have gone on that sailing trip.
I think post-boat tip, they may be real. Not real. They may be similar to the gull that she hit and have become a part of the reality in which she is in.
Maybe.
And this is part of their punishment for something.
Yeah, well, so that's...
Because I don't really, like, we never really get the inclination that Jess is a bad person.
No.
Until the end of the movie.
And even then, she's not, like, a horrible person. She's just not...
Sucks. Not a good mom.
She's definitely shown not handling being a...
Very well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think it's just something interesting to think because, you know, if we assume all the other people on the boat are dead people, kind of also in their own purgatory, I think there's this implication that one of them doesn't end up on the boat. She doesn't end up in purgatory.
Yeah.
That's Heather.
Yeah, you're right.
Which to me tells me she probably lived.
Yeah.
Whatever accident killed, you know, these guys.
Yeah,
Could have been a boat accident.
Or she didn't. Or she did. If we're saying, you know, heaven, hell, purgatory, she went either direction.
Yeah. Well, I guess the idea I'm getting at, and you know, I'm trying to figure it out as I go here.
Fair.
Maybe these other guys, they died in a boating accident in
Yeah.
a storm, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you know, they might not be actually in purgatory. This might be like shadows of themselves that we're getting to watch play out here in Jess's own purgatory.
Sure.
And so when Heather disappears from them, she actually fell off the boat, but she lives through whatever this event is. That's why she's not in the play out.
loop, which
Yeah.
makes sense.
So yeah, just thought I should bring that up because
It's definitely interesting.
the fact that Heather disappears doesn't make sense.
It also makes her as a character not matter at fucking all.
Yeah,
Because she literally has a couple lines on the boat, some lines with Greg. It creates some weird tension that doesn't really need to be there. I guess she adds character development to Sally as a person
well,
and gives you some insight into what she's like, but
the way I see Heather's character, she only exists so that when Jess drops her keys on the boat, they think there could be potentially someone else on the boat.
that is, I guess that is a way to, yeah.
That's
I guess
really
a way
the
to
only thing I see
explain
Heather's
that away.
reasoning being. But that could have been literally the supposed crew of the boat, you know?
Yeah, but how would they have gotten her keys? Or
Yeah,
Jess's
I
keys,
know.
right?
But I don't know. There's not really a reason for Heather to exist.
No, I mean, honestly, they could have left her completely out, and it would have been fine.
And so, you know, it could have just been as an easy explanation for the keys.
Yeah.
Or I could be like, let me give the movie credit and say it's something to do with the more esoteric element.
I would hope that they wouldn't just write in a character for that one reason.
I want to say I want to read it as it's something to do with the esoteric elements, just
Yeah.
because everything else is written so closely.
Mm-hmm.
So
And everything that, I mean, I guess this is, you know, we've talked about this before. If a movie does something, it does it for an explicit reason, right?
yeah,
It has purpose, and I think
but I mean the whole keys thing could be the purpose.
the whole keys thing could be the purpose that feels too small
but it feels
to
small
create
for
a
this
whole
movie.
character, right?
Yeah,
Because everything else is so immaculately detailed, and everything is so on purpose and
well thought out.
well thought out that being there just for those keys makes absolutely no sense to me.
Yeah.
So I happen to agree with you that I think it has something to do with either A, it's showing that this is purgatory because Heather survived,
Yeah.
or B, she ended up in heaven, hell, or some other place, right?
Yeah. There's something different about her, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. And also, like, the way that she is removed is, like, she just gets sucked out of a porthole on the ship and it's just gone.
It's very, like, not clear about her fate.
Yes.
And it's also very weird. I don't know if you noticed. So basically, the boat was filling with water.
Yeah.
And so she was drowning and being separated from everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And then the boat flips and she somehow gets sucked out.
Yeah, I don't know.
It was odd.
It was odd. Almost like divine intervention.
Yeah, it was just very, very odd. So the film's set in the Bermuda Triangle.
Mm-hmm.
And that allows for the implication that the Aeolus is just another ship lost there.
Yeah.
Probably sometime in the 1940s.
Oh, based on the decor in the ship, for sure.
Well, so the boat's from 1932. They say that.
Yeah, that's when it was first set sail.
Right. And it has to be sometimes after 1944.
Because that's when that song came out. And they have vinyls of it on the ship.
I don't know when that song came out, but it came out before 1944. I can tell you that, you know?
Yeah.
Because that guy died in 1944.
Allegedly.
He died in 1944. And
His plane disappeared with him on it in 1944.
He died in 1944. Let's be honest. He died in 1944. He was very famous and had no problems with being alive.
Yeah.
So sometimes between 1930 and 1944, I don't know when that song came out.
Yeah.
But basically they have an old record player, you know, the wind-up type, that's playing that song. So I think that's just an interesting point. It's that ship been floating around
In the Bermuda Triangle.
and it looks good. It was pumping smoke still, so
Yeah.
like, there was still coal in it. The decor looks good.
Yeah. The only thing weird about it is the piles of bodies from the time loop.
Yeah. The only thing weird about that boat is the time loop stuff.
Yeah.
Also the food. The food sometimes switches.
Between good and bad.
Yeah.
Which is, I guess, showing the time dilation.
Yeah, I think it also switched. It switched when Omega Jess or Bad Jess was
Entered the room, yeah.
yeah
Mm-hmm.
doing her stuff.
Yeah, oh, wow, that's so weird to think about. Because, like, the food didn't change until Omega Jess showed up, right?
Yeah, the second time through.
Because time has passed for that Jess. But
Yeah.
when you get it from the perspective of the other Jess, it's fresh to her, so it's new. That's interesting.
Well, it's still rotting for Omega Jess. Just the third time, it's back to fresh.
Yeah, because Downey takes a banana every time. Huh. Interesting.
So, kind of a fun thing. The cruise ship, kind of on the purgatory point, right?
Sure.
Is that it seems to be teaching Jess the lesson of, like, what's important in life.
Yeah.
It seems to be on the cruise ship that she realizes, hey, my kid's important.
Yeah, and I shouldn't hit him.
Kind of a shithead. However, I think it's kind of important to note that there's, like, an even more poignant lesson learned of that she just can't change anything.
Interesting.
Like, she gets to the end of the loop.
Mm-hmm.
She gets in her car. She's driving with her kid, and her kid dies. So assuming that, like, original timeline, she died in this car accident.
Yeah.
The whole point of the boat
Doesn't matter.
is it's purgatory that's teaching her that, hey, yeah, you should have been a better mom, but also you can't change anything, so stop trying to change everything. And she keeps getting the lesson, and she keeps going, but I'm going to try again.
Damn, that's good.
That's
That's
like
interesting.
Purgatory in, like, Abrahamic, primarily, like, Christian theology.
Mm-hmm.
It's a place usually where, like, you didn't do bad stuff enough to go to hell.
Yeah.
But you didn't do enough good to get into heaven, which, from what we see of Jess, I guess would be
A rough estimation, yeah.
She wasn't, like, horrible. We could take this as a bad day, but not great.
Not very good, yeah.
So it's like punishment, and it's punishment until you earn the right to go to heaven.
Yeah. Which she's refusing to do.
But then in some versions, it's also like limbo. It's
Yeah.
kind of the more of the ghost version.
That's what I
It's a limbo
pick
you
from it,
go
yeah.
where you, like, have to stay until you learn your lesson and move on.
Yeah.
So I think it's both, right?
I think
She's
I would
getting
agree.
punishment, like she's attacked in a bunch of shit. She has to go through all these fearful things, but she's also forced to learn a lesson, and she keeps not learning the big lesson, and so she keeps doing it over and over again.
When will you learn that your actions have consequences? That's all I can think about right now. Oh my god.
And then I think, like, the last thing I got
Uh-huh.
is Omega Jess.
Okay.
Bad Jess, which I call her Bad Jess just because she's much more violent.
Oh yeah, she's angry.
Um,
It's really bad.
I think it has to do with the moment that Omega Jess sees her own self and gets held up at gunpoint.
Oh, when she's on the ground?
Yeah.
Yeah, when she's holding
Basically,
yeah.
Alpha Jess on her second run through holds up Omega Jess at
Mhm.
gunpoint. I think that's the big divergent point.
Yeah, it is really.
But I think that causes Omega Jess to kill the Jess that's coming after her,
Yeah.
which we know is Omega Jess later on because that Jess doesn't have her mask on.
Yeah, she refuses to put it on.
Well, no, she takes it off to trick Sally.
Oh, yeah, Sally and Downey.
Downey.
Stab them later.
And so that causes first run Omega Jess to kill her third run self
Yeah.
and sets up, bad Omega Jess. But I think what's important to note is at some point during her third run, Omega Jess gets clipped by Sally with the shotgun
Yeah.
right on the temple here. And she gets blood running down her face.
Well, Jess shoots herself with the shotgun. Sally doesn't shoot her.
No,
Sally never has the gun, man.
Sally does have the gun. No, Dwayne has the gun.
Downey has the gun.
Downey, whatever fucking his name is.
And also, Downey's not
his
the
name's
one.
Dwayne now.
No, Downey is the one that shot her. It was her. She shot herself to keep them from getting shot in the theater when
That's
she
true.
shows up.
But Downey is shooting at her.
Downey does shoot at her, but he doesn't hit her.
Yeah, anyway, she gets shot, right?
Yeah.
And it clips, like, the top of her head.
Mm-hmm.
So there's blood coming down.
Yeah.
Those are the same blood marks we see on Theta Jess, who's lying in the road.
Yep. That's it. Damn. I was going to bring that up.
Fuck you, I got there first.
You did get there first.
I gave you the chance to do all these points.
Well, I got one of them, okay? That's rare. It's rare that I catch
It is
something
rare.
in a movie.
Mostly because, for anyone who doesn't know, Bob wears glasses, and his prescriptions are way out of date.
Way out of
and
date.
I
I need to go
don't
to the
think
eye
he can
doctor.
see the screen most
There were
times.
multiple times where I had to ask you what something said because I couldn't read it. Remember when I asked you what the clock said? It's because I couldn't read the clock, so I couldn't see the numbers.
We should get new glasses.
I need
Especially
them.
because we do this thing where we review a visual media.
Yeah, I need a new prescription, man. It's really bad.
Those are all my talking points. Do you have anything else?
No, not
Bring up.
particularly. I want to leave all the rest of that for if you guys want to go watch it, I recommend.
All right. Who'd you recommend it for?
Let's see. Someone who is into light horror. I would not call this horror. It's not scary, but it is suspenseful, and I think it's cool. I think it's a good take on the time loop.
I might do, like, if if you're into psychological thrillers.
Yeah, that's good. That's way better. That's a way better recommendation. You know what you're talking about more than I do.
Because it's not like psychological horror.
No, I don't think
is-
it's very scary. It's just a cool spin on a classic concept.
But it's got that thriller aspect where you're kind of on the edge of your seat. You don't
Yeah,
know what's
'cause
gonna
you don't know what's
happen
going
next.
on.
So yeah, if you want to watch a psychological thriller, there's that. If you want to watch like a time movie, something that deals with time.
It's very, very cool.
It's not like super scary, but it does play with this idea of time loops and all that other stuff. Makes it kind of confusing. But if you want to watch that,
It's not that hard to
fun.
follow by the time you get to the end, though.
no. But you do have to think about it.
Yeah, just a little bit. It's not too bad.
And there's also this stuff with Greek mythology you can unpack.
Mm-hmm. If you're a fan of Liam Hemsworth, he's pretty good in this movie. I like him.
Hemsworth's in this a little bit. He could have been in there more.
He could have been in there more, but he's not the main character, so you know.
But yeah, I think my big recommendation if you want to watch something with time stuff or, psychological thriller.
Yeah.
That's all I got.
If you want like a boat movie, I think this is a good not ghost ship, but spooky ship movie.
It's not a great boat movie.
No,
But
but
if you want a boat movie,
it is a boat movie.
it is technically a boat movie.
Yeah.
However, that boat could have really been anything.
I mean, that's completely fair. I think the use of the boat as a tool for isolation is cool.
Yeah. I guess boat or Bermuda Triangle stuff. That's
Yeah.
the other one. Anything else?
Not for recommendations.
All right. Rating.
Ooh, 3.5.
Why?
I like the concept. I think it did a really good job at being a time loop movie while also not being predictable.
Good.
And I think that is the big thing for me. Is I was worried when we were going to watch a movie for Groundhog Day. I was like, I hope this movie does not just lay everything out and I figure everything out by the first loop, because that would be fucking boring.
Why not a 4?
I think it could be, like you said, it could be anything. Like the boat, it doesn't have to be a boat.
Yeah.
I like that it's a boat because I think the boat is a good tool for isolation, but you could really just put her in any situation where she's isolated. It could be a house in the woods or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There are many other things that it could be.
It just seems like it's there because Bermuda Triangle, but that seems like it's there as an explanation for why there's a time loop.
Yeah, exactly. That's the other thing is like they don't really explain it.
Yeah.
Like nothing gets explained on why it's happening. You just kind of have to be like, oh, it's a Bermuda Triangle. Which, I mean, I guess I can suspend my disbelief a little bit, but also it's like you could give... And I guess we did unpack a real explanation, but that's not explicit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's implicit.
It's an implicit explanation for the entirety of the movie, which is like cool for me because we figured it out and I enjoyed it. But, I get why some people wouldn't like that. It's not, I mean, 3.5 too, because it's not very scary. It's not a scary movie, but I'm not, I guess I shouldn't really take that against it, but this is a horror podcast.
It's a horror podcast, but okay, I'm of the opinion here. It might not be the most popular opinion, but I think horror's a pretty wide genre.
I agree.
So I include a lot of things that I think most people don't include, which suck it up, y'all, because you're going to get that stuff on this podcast because I get to choose the movies, but I'll throw thrillers on here sometime.
Yeah, and I
like
think that allows us to keep up varied content too, which is cool. I like it. I mean, I like the movie a lot. I just think that it could be better if they changed a couple things. You know what I mean? If it was I think they could really... How long was the movie? An hour and a half?
Something like that.
If they had... And this is just me. If they had drawn this movie out to 2 hours and give us an extra 30 minutes of something that was...
Maybe.
I'm trying to think of the word. I'm trying to think of the word I'm looking for. Not some... I need more depth.
Okay.
That's it. Just give me like 15 more minutes of something... Of explanation that is not explicit, but more explicit than the rest of the movie.
I don't know. I thought that the amount of time this movie was perfect, just because one more loop I think would have been too much.
You think so?
Yeah. Besides the fact that it maybe wouldn't have been as clean of a number as 3.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think it would have been too much because we just saw so much of what happened on the ship, but also we had to see it from like the same angle over and over again. For instance, we see on the second loop Jess looking over the side of the boat, watching them arrive on the boat. On the third loop, we see Jess watching herself watching them.
Yeah, it's cool.
And it's hard to do stuff like that over and over again.
Yeah.
I think it would have been hard to pull off.
See, I don't think they should have maybe not add an extra loop, but maybe add a few minutes to every loop just to lengthen them a little bit, because I feel like that we could have pulled more if we spent more time with it.
Maybe. It's just, adding time to movies can be hard sometimes.
Yeah, and I get that.
I think you're right. It could have helped. It could have gone the other way, though.
That's completely fair.
So I think this was an okay time period.
Yeah.
Any other reasoning for your rating?
No, I don't think so.
All right. I'm going to go with the same. 3.5. I think it does the concept of we're on a boat, we go onto this new boat, and there's this time loop, and there's some time shenanigans because Bermuda Triangle. I think it does that as well as it should. Right?
I agree.
What gets this movie like kind of over the top, and I think gets it past the point of, you know, time loop boat movie, is this idea that it's a time loop that extends back to the beginning of the movie. The cyclical nature of the movie.
That is really cool.
I think that really pushes it to another level.
Because, can I be honest, I thought after she got pushed off the boat, the movie ended. I was like, oh. But then when she woke up on the beach, I went, oh my fuck.
Yeah.
I thought the movie was over, and there was actually like 20 minutes.
Yeah, but if she woke up on the beach and like she just went back to her kid and then moved on with her life, that wouldn't have been as interesting.
Oh no, that sucks.
But having the whole movie start over again and then having this whole thing be like, oh, it's not just a time loop of 3 that happens on this boat. No, it's a time loop that's been going on and on.
And she just doesn't know. It's very cool.
And also the stuff with like she might be dead.
Mm-hmm.
Really great. I think that takes it over what it could innately be.
For sure.
Time loop boat movie. However, I don't think it gets there perfectly, which is why I'm giving it a 3.5 and not a 4, because I just think there's some problems with the film.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I think some of the stuff with like her being dead and stuff isn't as explicit as I want.
Yeah, that's what that's what I was getting at too. Like
we were able to break it down, but it's still super heavily implied.
Mm-hmm.
And even then, I think the only thing that implies she might be dead is the darkening of the contrast.
Yeah, whenever she meets the cab driver.
And even that could be explained by potentially just a cloud coming over.
I mean, yeah.
In a similar vein, the stuff on the ship is nice, but I don't know. Sometimes I didn't like the stuff that happens on the ship during certain times.
Yeah, I agree. I think as soon as we learned that the killer is just Jess, I don't know what to say ruined, because it didn't really ruin the experience, because it
feels disappointing, though.
Not even disappointing, but it ruins the suspense of. It ruined, at least for me, the suspense of what it is. Like, who is it?
Yeah, and
because you learn that pretty quickly that it is Jess.
Maybe this is me having seen this film before and knowing the twist, but I felt the stuff on the ship wasn't as exciting as I wanted. Because, you knowing a movie, what happens in a movie like this does lower the tension, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like there should still be a high enough energy to get me through this.
Yeah, and some of it is pretty high energy, but then there's a lot of just chilling.
Yeah, and I feel in a similar vein to Bob, where the stuff on the ship, I like having 3 time loops. I think that was a good amount.
Yeah.
But I think what could happen during those time loops could be cleaned up and kind of polished a little bit more.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
To just get a better experience for each. Because the writer of this movie was really good at keeping everything tight.
Yes.
And, he did a great job with making sure everything makes sense and lines up.
Mm-hmm.
Got to give him very good props for that.
And it does. I kept catching it. I was like, oh, that's... Because every time we saw a new blood, I was like, oh, that's from that Jess's angle from that loop.
Yeah.
Like, oh, shit,
really
that's
great,
cool.
Because we'd see... these third-person shots, they're just Jess's perspective from a different timeline.
Yeah.
But just the content wasn't always there. And yeah, I think just stuff like that, just little minor touches-ups to the story. Yeah. Because, he did the time loop as well as he could, and then he went above and beyond. But just other basic things of the film were lacking, so I don't think I can give it, a 4.
Yeah, we watched the same Jess fight. We watched the same fight a couple of times throughout the movie. And it's like, yeah, cool, because it's a time loop, but also Jess would know this stuff. She could switch it up.
It's not even that. It's just if you had shot it differently, I feel
that's
like
true. Actually, yeah, I didn't even
better.
think about that.
Just little things, So content-wise, I think everything was there that maybe have gotten it a 4.
Mm-hmm.
But it's really just some minor things.
Yeah, some minor execution stuff. I think really kept it from
also
being better.
Not to be mean towards the film, but some of the stuff looks cheap.
That is true.
And I think that's just because the budget was kind of low.
Mm-hmm.
But it just shows sometimes, and I think I should mention it.
I mean, this is what, 2009 film?
2009.
And maybe it's a little, I don't want to say dated, but maybe some
dated.
of the stuff is...
Some of the CGI, they show the cruisers, not great. I think it's just they didn't have a high budget, and they made a good decision of making sure they could get a lot of the cruise liner done as a set.
Yeah, I agree.
It's very big. Apparently, they made half a cruise liner that they kind of put in the water.
Mm-hmm.
Not half of it, but they made a big wall that looked like a cruise liner and put it in the water so they could do some of the outside shots of the boat.
Yeah.
But I think that's probably where a lot of the budget went. But some of the other stuff in the film suffers from it. All the Sally bodies looks really cool.
It does look really cool.
But something about the CGI putting in other Sallys with herself looks a little off.
Looks a little bit weird, but it's it is passable.
It's passable. You wouldn't notice unless you're paying attention. But also, the gore doesn't look great.
The gore does not look great.
I don't know. There's the content's all there for a 4. I don't think for a 5. But for a 4, I think the content's
It could
all there.
get there if it had done a few things better.
But there's a little things it could have done better to, I think, get it there. So, 3.5.
I completely agree. I'm in total agreement on that one.
That's all I got.
Yeah, that's all I got. I liked this movie a lot more than I expected. Was not Scary Ocean movie, and I was so excited.
Yeah, you were really tense for
I was
Scary Ocean
scared,
movie.
man. I was scared.
I said boat. You should have known. I said boat.
Yeah, you're right.
Although
You're right.
that is exactly how I would sail a Scary Ocean movie.
Yeah.
It's all on a boat, guys, I swear.
Yeah.
But yeah. I guess we'll go to the outtakes now.
Yeah, we'll see you in a minute. Bye. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the outtakes for this special episode of Beware the Board. I hope you all enjoyed the episode so far. I really like this movie. I think it's a fun spin on a time loop. Without further ado, here are this episode's outtakes. For our first clip, we have my reaction to something very mundane. It's just that I have a really big fear of crabs, and there was a scene with some crabs in this movie, and it freaked me out. Here's my reaction to some crabs on the beach.
He had hair, though, so.
He did
It's
have
hard to
hair in
tell.
that.
He's like Benjamin Button with hair.
Ah!
Those are crab spots.
I know. Ah! What the fuck? What is going on right now? This next clip is my reaction to seeing the thunderstorm that capsizes the yacht for the first time.
That's why sailboats have engines.
Yeah, makes sense. Oh. That's not good.
Could be worse.
No, not much worse than... Oh, I've ever told you I have a severe fear of thunderstorms?
Yes.
Because that was not fun, just watching that happen.
Crack. That is what it looks like out on the open ocean. Like, because you can see so far.
Yeah, another reason you won't catch my ass on the ocean.
Nah, we'll take you out there during a storm.
No!
We'll go like... You ever seen that show?
God damn.
Deadliest Catch? And they
Yes.
hit some of those storms in
My dad
Alaska?
loves that show.
It's like...
My dad's really into fishing, though. It's his
I hit
thing.
the wave and like... Kaboosh!
That's a good vine. A classic. This next clip is our reaction to seeing Victor, bloodied and beaten, attempting to strangle Jess. Oh, what happened to you, buddy?
Victor got fucked up.
By something. Oh my god. Oh my god. Holy shit. Victor, come on, man. Why are you fucking strangling her? Oh. Ugh. This next clip is our reaction to watching Sally, Downey, and Greg all get gunned down from one of the balconies in the theater. Oh my god. Holy shit. Interesting. I was wondering. Oh my god! What the fuck? This is crazy. Oh. Whoa. This next clip is our reaction to seeing how Victor got bloodied and beaten and how it was an accident caused by Jess. Oh, that sucks. Come on. Oh, that squirt was cool, though.
You're wondering what that hole in his head came from.
Yeah, I was. I didn't know what happened. Oh, now he's going to chase her and try and kill her. And oh, my God. This is cool. Hi, everybody. We're back.
Yeah, I hope you like the outtakes.
I hope they were
I
good.
don't know how many there was.
I don't either.
Probably at least 2,
A couple.
maybe. Hopefully.
I mean, I feel like we got some good reactions out of the end of the movie. I think when she killed herself with the hammer, I screamed. Because I was like, oh my God.
You might
What
have.
the fuck? Wild ass fucking trip.
You got a reaction for the car flip, I assume.
Well, because that was fucking cool. That
was
car
a
stunt we
car
didn't talk
flip.
about that much in the episode. Car stunt was really
I
good.
assumed it was real. I couldn't tell.
It was definitely real.
If there was some CGI with CGI touch-ups, but it was
Yeah.
it was good looking.
It was a real good car flip.
I guess announcements for right now.
Yeah.
There's an episode coming out tomorrow,
Yeah, there is.
so
Watch
have
out for
fun
that.
with that.
Oh God, that movie. Huh.
Yeah, you couldn't tell. We recorded that movie before this one.
Whee.
So there's that episode coming out tomorrow, and then on Saturday, so the day after, we have our special episode with Abby coming out. That's the one I picked out for us to watch. Go check that out. That's a pretty good one.
Good
I think we
episode.
got a good conversation on it.
Oh yes,
Not sure how the episode's gonna turn out.
it's good.
Bob's still editing it,
From what I've seen and listened to, it's good.
but
It's a banger.
I think it'll turn out.
I do too.
You
Also,
wanna-
just like if whenever that movie comes out, go watch that movie. Like
Oh yeah, it's a good movie.
that's a good fucking movie.
Probably go watch it before.
Yeah.
Bob, I guess, he's already put out what the spoiler is for that movie, so you can go watch that right now.
Yeah. It'll be out by the time this comes out. Yeah.
Well, yeah, it came out on Monday.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Do you want to chill our
Yeah,
stuff?
man. Follow us on Twitter at Beware the Board. I post everything there. I post all the updates for the show, links to the episodes when they go live. I post spoilers every Monday for the movie that comes out on Friday in case you want to watch it before we watch it.
Or Saturday. Basically, it's the Monday before it comes out.
The Monday before a weekly episode comes out, I will post on our Twitter with a spoiler thing like, hey, here's the movie. Go watch it if you want. If you don't want to, don't. You don't have to. Also, we got concept art for our art for the podcast. So soon we will be up on wherever you get your podcast,
Yeah,
Spotify, Anchor
Maybe
FM.
on board number 3.
Shut up. We'll have my board too. But we got concept art, so our artist is working on it. He's getting there, and I'm just excited to finally be on something other than YouTube.
This is not a YouTube content kind of thing.
Not really.
But
it's
hey,
not really made
if
for
you're
it.
watching us on YouTube, thank you. Go hit that like button. Do it 3 times because maybe you got to, and then hit that bell too 3 times, and thumbs up kind of 3 times as well.
Yeah.
Basically, notice how I said 3 things. Do them 3 times.
Was the loop?
It's a triangle actually.
Oh, my bad. I'm sorry.
Um,
If you all have any recommendations for movies that we should watch on the show, leave them in the comments. Let us know so that Ben can look into it. And if it's a movie that Ben, likes, maybe we'll do a special episode on it on like a Saturday so that we can just watch it ahead of time.
or hell, maybe you just want to yell at Bob.
Don't yell
That's
at me.
always great.
No, don't do that. If you have categories that you want to recommend for the random category on the board, also leave those in the comments. We have a new format for getting a hold of a random category. We will use your comments, though. We really appreciate them. So do that. I think that's everything.
Yeah, we'll see you tomorrow.
We will see you tomorrow.
I mean, I won't. I gotta go record this again.
Shut
38
up.
times the charm. I assume. I hope.
Yeah, we'll see if I'll let you all
Hopefully
know if
this
Ben's
episode
still stuck
comes
in
out
this
for
time
you
loop.
guys. Well, you'll know if this one comes out and it says 37.
Then that's the winner.
That's
you
the
did
winner.
it.
I fucking hope so.
See you next week. And remember, always beware the board.